So there aren't, unfortunately, a lot of more relaxed missions for the performance vehicles. A lot of them are races or they're really long. The raid missions do have a few where it's just a checkpoint or a point A to B. This one, the Big D, this is actually a checkpoint race with a performance vehicle. I kind of forgot about this mission. So actually, I don't know if it's checkpoint or if it's A to B. We'll take a look and we'll see. Either way, it'll give me a chance to show you a performance vehicle, and we'll talk a little bit about those. Looks like it's going to switch me to the GT35, the Nissan GT35, which it's a good car. Now you do have to have the Calling All Units DLC to purchase this car, so if you don't have that, then just go ahead and put that one out of your mind unless you really want to get Calling All Units, which I do recommend. Calling All Units it's good DLC. It adds a lot of the transport missions, which are good for getting free vehicles and earning money, and we'll get to those a little bit later too. This is a pretty solid performance car. Now performance cars are kind of a middle ground between street and circuit. They're really fast. They can turn decently, but they definitely don't make the same kind of turns that a street vehicle would, and they won't reach the same sort of speeds that a circuit car will, of course. But they're pretty fun to drive. That guy, I just didn't like him. He was in my way, so we had to get rid of that. But I have a few performance cars that are pretty good, pretty fun to drive, pretty solid. Now this mission is just, it's a time mission, looks like A to B. I think I usually don't turn there, if I remember correctly, the route that I choose to take for this mission. So we're going to be, well, actually, you know what? This takes me to a dead end, so I was wrong. But luckily this is right here, so we're going to be going this way, going against the traffic, because why not? I mean, we got places to be, we don't have time to worry about following the rules of the road. Although I do recommend, if possible, staying with the flow of traffic. It just gives you a little bit more reaction time to what's coming up. You don't want to always have to worry about a car coming up out of nowhere, especially if you're going over a hill and just hitting you, crashing you, wasting your time. So we're going to be following the marker here. Felt like bowling with those water barrels back there. This is a pretty straightforward course from what I remember. I'm actually starting to remember this one. I've done this one. This is a good mission if you want to test out performance vehicles in terms of the handling. There's going to be a lot of different areas in this race where it's going to test the different parts of the tuning. You know, your top speed, your acceleration, the turning. It's mostly a lot of just straight driving as fast as possible. But it's definitely not a good mission to grind for money or for experience or the reputation points, really. It kind of takes too long. We're already hitting 3 minutes, and I could have already had 8,800 from the previous one. And even the snow mission, winter is coming. I would already be just about finished with that one as well. So this is not a good faction mission for grinding up money. It's just sort of here, I guess. They just sort of put it in the game as something because they needed a filler mission, I suppose. Like I said, it can have its uses. If you want to buy a performance vehicle, test it out, level it up, see how it does. You can definitely drive this course with a couple of different performance vehicles and compare times, see how they did. Sometimes you'll get rain in this mission, which will, of course, affect the handling of the vehicle. Not too bad. The rain in this game doesn't really seem to make or break the handling. It just sort of adds a little bit more to how it turns and also when you brake. Now that right there was just me kind of trying to avoid the traffic, turning a little bit too hard and almost losing control of the vehicle, but luckily we got her back under our control. And And I have no idea what that person was doing, because they just pulled up to that barrel there where they were doing construction and completely stopped almost. So probably not the best choice. So this section right here is where you're going to start to see a little bit more of where the necessity for braking, so you can test out different vehicles to see how they handle in the corners, things like that. Now there doesn't seem to be too many performance vehicles in this game that aren't, to some degree, a little bulky. I know there are certain vehicles that can be performance cars that are a little bit smaller, such as the Mazda MX-5 and the Mini Cooper, and I believe the Subaru BRZ can also be a performance vehicle, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But you'll find some of the others, they tend to be a little wide. The Nissan GT35 is fairly wide shaped. Certain cars like the Lamborghinis, the Aventadors, the Huracan, the Pagani, such as the Zonda, the Huayra, they're all kind of a little bit wider than smaller street vehicles. So with performance vehicles, you're definitely going to need to be a little bit more cautious around traffic, just to make sure that if you get to a section where the traffic is kind of lane to lane, that you can fit in between or go around if you need to. Now we had 15 minutes when we started this race, and we're about down to 8.5. So I definitely don't think, this is definitely starting to prove that this is not a good race to grind money, especially for how little it pays. It actually surprises me, to be honest with you. The very first time I did this mission, I didn't actually really look at the amount of money I earned. I just saw that it was a, A to B race with no other racers, and I thought, oh, that could be fun. Get a chance to drive your performance vehicle, just kind of go for it. You don't have to worry about the other racers or rubber banding AI. You just kind of pick, wow, what is happening to me? This is kind of a weird race. This route, I actually forgot, this part of the route takes you to a section where you're going to be completely against the traffic, and you have really no choice. Now, I don't know if there's other routes that go around this, because I haven't really done this one enough to experiment with all the different routes, but yeah, there's hills here, and going over them are incredibly dangerous. But this route that I'm on, unfortunately, will take me against traffic. And honestly, these cars would be easier to see at night, just because I could actually see their headlights. During the day, not quite so lucky. I'm just gonna have to sort of pay attention and take a wild guess, and that was really close. This would be a fun mission to do with a friend. You could both drive down the highway against the traffic, play a little bit of chicken, see who can make it without getting into a wreck. But I believe we're coming up to the end. Finally, yeah, we're about 0.70 miles away. Which, like I said, this is not a good mission for how long it takes to earn money. The very first time I did it, I didn't really look at the bucks, and I thought, oh, it's pretty long. So maybe you get like 16,000 or 22,000, somewhere around that, in that vein, and I was completely wrong. It took us about 9 minutes, almost 9 minutes to get to the finish line, and I'm only going to get 8,800 bucks for that. So not a good mission for this sort of thing at all. Definitely not. So we'll take a look. 8 minutes, 17 seconds. Pretty clean driving, but the same amount of reputation and bucks as the other missions, which took almost a third of the time. So Interesting race. It's fun. Maybe if you did it with a crew member or two, it could be a little bit more interesting. Everybody racing to get to the end. But as a solo mission to try to grind up money, it's definitely not the best.